And she was like, don't use that tone on me. I was like, babe, what?
In the 15 for my bro, yeah. 15 with my bro, yeah. Lagos, I wanna come home. Lagos, I wanna come home. Show my love.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Zara Beauty, and I'm here for another story time. So if you're on my Snapchat, which you all should be because that's where it's lit, I told you guys I was going to give you guys the full story about my encounter at Sephora with some chick. So I'm gonna tell you guys what happened. So last month, was it last month or last 2 months, I forget, I went to Sephora. So I have my normal like Sephora spot that I go to in my city. Some of the girls know me there. I'm always buying stuff all the time. They know that I do YouTube and all of that. So I go into the store this particular month and I see this one chick. She's like a supervisor slash manager, and she was just hired like newly, right? So I normally just go straight to where I want to go, take the products and test it on my face and all that, just because I'm comfortable in that Sephora, you know what I mean? So I go there this particular day, and this manager slash supervisor babe, let's call her Carla, and she comes up to me and she's like, oh, do you need help with anything? I'm like, no, I don't. And she's like, oh, I see you're trying out foundations. Do you want me to help you find your shade and blah blah? And I was like, no, I'm good. But I was like, you know what, let me just humor her. Like, let me humor her. Let me see what she has to say. And I was like, you know what, I'm actually having a little bit of trouble finding out my shade in Marc Jacobs, so maybe you can give me some help and whatnot. And she's like, oh sure, like I'll tell you do that, blah blah blah. And then she brings out a couple of foundations. Yo, when I tell you that this babe like bare took the darkest foundation there, the freaking darkest foundation. And then she was like, oh, let me just test it on your cheek. Let me just test it on your cheek. I'm telling you, I can't even use that foundation to contour my face. Like, this girl gave me foundation and she was like, oh my God, this should so be a color. And then she tested on my cheek. Yo, the thing was orange AF. And I was like, this is not my color. She's like, I'm sure it's your color. Just blend it out. Once you blend it out, look all flawless and all that. I was like, boo-boo, I can't even contour with this shade. Like, it is so not my color. And then she goes, sweetie, I think it's your color. I studied makeup in blah, 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 fashion school for 5 years. So I know what I'm saying. And I'm like, babe, I ain't arguing with you, but this is not my color, okay? I know, like, I'm dark. I get tan in the summer. Like, you can see my hands are really dark and my chest is kind of light. The places of my body that are exposed to the sun more tend to be darker, right? So I know that I get darker, but hell no, I don't get as dark as my freaking contour shade. Like, So I was like, thank you so much for your help. I'll just go back to checking for my shade, right? And then she gave me this dirty look, and then she went. And as she was going, she tapped one of her like mates, like one of her colleagues, and she was like, keep an eye on that girl. Like, she mouthed it, keep an eye on that girl. And I'm like, oh God almighty. Girl, I spent X amount of dollars at Sephora. Like, I'm not about to steal right now. Like, seriously. Like, the girl starts keeping her eyes on me. Like, I move around the store and she's staring at me, and the manager supervisor lady was going around doing as if like she was talking to other people, but she was just looking at me. Like, we will like meet, like our eyes will like jam. Yo, I'm so Nigerian, I didn't know how to say those. Our eyes will jam. And then she will not like just take her eyes away as if she wasn't staring at me. So I got really uncomfortable, and I went up to her and I asked, excuse me, is there any problem why you're staring at me? Like, why are you just policing me like that? And she's like, oh, she's not doing any such thing. She's just, you know, going around doing her normal runs. And I was actually agitated. I was like, yo, like, you've had 2 people right now monitor me. Like, you've been staring at me. Like, literally when I touch a product, she comes back and then she touches it again. Like, that kind of thing. I was like, babe, do you have something to say to me? Like, Because most times when I go to Sephora, I don't have my game face on. I go there, you know, with my ratchet face, you know, my mind, I'm like, you don't know what I can be. You don't know how I transform. So like, I probably really looked kind of ratchet, and I wasn't really looking nice. Like, I wasn't dressed up, like dolled up like this. I was wearing like sweatpants, and I wore just a normal t-shirt, and then I had on my really ugly wig. So maybe she thought I was here to steal makeup. I'm like, girl, I ain't about that, okay? Come to my house, check my drawers. Like, it's all Sephora. Like, this is my freaking favorite place to shop for makeup. Like, I'm not gonna steal now. So when I was asking the girl, like, what's her issue, kind of my voice was getting louder. And then she was like, don't use that tone on me. I was like, babe, what? She goes, don't use that tone on me. And like, okay, let me tell you how I was talking to her. I was like, is there any reason why you've been policing me, like, and you've been monitoring my movements all through the store? I've been here for 25 minutes after I talked to you, and for that 25 minutes, you've been looking at me, sending your associates to stare at me, make sure I'm not, like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to prove? So that's how I was sounding. And then she goes, please don't use that tone with me. We're in a public place. You don't need to be agitated. And I'm like, how do you want me to react? I feel weird. I feel freaking targeted. Like, how do you want me to react in this case? Like, I've been calm, okay? And then, like, what else do you want me to do? The other associates came together and they're like, oh, excuse me, can you just please go to the office and talk to the manager, blah, 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 blah. And because I was like, who is the manager here? I want to speak to the manager here. And she was like, oh, I'm a manager. I'm like, I know that Sephora has not one, not two, but like 3 managers. So I'm like, I want to speak to another manager. Like, so they took me to the office and they were talking to me, and I was like, I don't understand your employee, but like your colleague, but that's not cool. Like, I don't want to bring the whole race card thing here, but like, that's not cool at all. Like, you don't do that to someone that's coming here to give you business. And then they apologized to me and all of that, and I was like, thank you. Like, when I was coming out, then the lady was just looking at me weird. I was like, bitch, you better freaking move. Like, take your eyes, wash your eyes away from me. Like, she really pissed me off that day. But like, yeah, that's basically what happened. I didn't fight with nobody. Yo, I can't do that. I can't fight in public place. I can't even fight, period. Like, I feel like it's really degrading, and I just, I'm not about that life. So if you guys are waiting for a fight story and blah blah, I'm so sorry to disappoint you, but it didn't get to that. I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't even have let me fight in the store, except I was like, I threw a punch at her, something, then we'll be like, okay, this is something different. But yeah, that's what happened, and that was my crazy Sephora experience, y'all. Like, I've never ever been treated this way. Like, this was the first time I felt, you know, how black people feel in the States, like targeted and profiled. Like, that was just deep, yo. Like, I kind of feel it wasn't a race thing. It was just because I kind of bruised her ego, you know, after talking to her about the whole foundation thing and telling her I didn't need her help and blah, blah, blah. I guess she kind of took it like she took it personal, and then it became something else. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Tell me if you like this story time.
Like button A, hit the like button A, hit the like.
And for all of you guys that are wondering where my contacts are from, check out my next video. It's going to be on the most natural looking blue contacts for brown eyes. And you guys know all about the contacts, where I got them from, and all of that. Nigerians have destroyed the dab, so I'm just gonna peace out at this point in time.
Me, I find me a pretty girl. She a queen from another world. What you give me auntie?